The sun melts into the horizon, casting deep amber and violet hues across the sprawling lavender fields of Provence. The air is thick with the scent of summer's last bloom, the fragrance mingling with the distant smoke from village chimneys. A light breeze stirs the purple waves of flowers, sending tiny petals drifting across the worn boots of Élise Dubois. She stands motionless in the middle of the field, her hand grazing the fragile blossoms, fingers coated with the sticky residue of their oils. The basket hanging from her elbow is only half full, though the day is nearly over. She should be finished by now, but Élise is not herself today. The church bell tolls in the distance, 1, 2, 3 times, marking the last hour before the German-enforced curfew. She doesn't flinch. She should. Instead, she lets the wind whisper through the lavender, her thoughts far away, far beyond the tidy rows of crops and the rustic farmhouse on the hill. The stone cottage looms in the growing twilight, a place that once held warmth and love but now stands as nothing more than a structure of obligation. Élise trudges up the dirt path, the gravel crunching beneath her boots. The weight of the basket on her arm is far less than the weight of her thoughts. She reaches the porch and pauses, exhaling slowly. The scent of lavender clings to her clothes, but beneath it is something else, the scent of loneliness. She hesitates before pushing open the door. The air inside is stale, unwelcoming. The flickering candle on the table casts a dim glow in the small kitchen. On the worn wooden table, a single plate of food sits untouched. Beside it, a photograph. A man in uniform, stiff-backed, unsmiling. Pierre Dubois, her husband, her absent husband. The cicadas hum outside, the world alive, while inside everything feels dead. Élise slowly sinks into the chair, staring at the photograph, her fingers tracing the cold glass. She remembers his hard hands, his indifference, the way he never once touched her face with love, the way he walked away without looking back when he was called to war. Her throat tightens, the ache inside her chest pressing heavier than the French sky before a storm. Boom! A distant explosion rumbles from the direction of the village, a reminder. The war is not far. She drops the photograph face down, pushes away the plate of food, and stands. And then, a knock at the door. Élise freezes. The knock comes again, softer this time, but insistent. Her breath hitches. No one should be out this late. She grabs a knife from the counter, her fingers white-knuckled around the worn handle.
Qui est cela?
Silence. Another knock, but weaker this time. Her stomach twists. She steels herself and slowly pulls the door open just a crack. A man collapses at her feet. The knife trembles in her grip as she stares at the half-conscious figure sprawled on her doorstep. Torn clothes, dried blood, mud-covered skin, and the boots. German military boots. Her heart lurches. She drops to her knees, pressing the blade against his chest.
Un Allemand?
His eyes flutter open, unfocused, fevered. He tries to speak, but his lips are dry, cracked.
Je suis pas soldat.
His voice is hoarse, not threatening. Elise's hands shake as she stares down at him. This is not a conquering German officer. This is a wounded man. She should turn him in. She should leave him to die. She should... Instead, she lowers the knife.
Merde.
The barn doors creak open, revealing the dim interior. The lantern's glow flickers over the hay-covered floor as Élise drags Matthias inside, his body limp and heavy. She dumps him into the hay, breathing hard, glaring down at him.
Si quelqu'un te trouve ici, nous mourrons tous les deux.
He moans, his head lolling to the side. She moves quickly, ripping fabric from an old sack, pressing it against his wound. He flinches, his eyes barely opening.
Je ne veux pas la guerre.
Her chest tightens, but she shoves the feeling down. She stands, fists clenched, and storms out of the barn, slamming the door behind her. Élise leans against the barn door, anxiety setting in. The wind rustles through the lavender fields, carrying the distant sound of marching boots from the village road. She closes her eyes, her nails digging into her palms. She has just made a choice she cannot take back.